What up, King? What's up, Queen? I had a whole video planned out. I was going to talk about Jordan Peterson's book, The 12 Rules for Life, and the best ideas in it, and I've decided to just put that video on hold for a little bit, and instead talk about the doomers. Lately, I've been going through a lot of Elisha Long's videos. I'm sure many of you watch his channel as well. He's a deeply inspiring person. He's overcome a lot of adversity, and he's someone I really look up to in terms of like personifying being a great orator and having a lot of strength as a human being. And he's lately been on this kick talking about meme culture, and in particular the doomers. The doomer concept is that of a 20-something guy who's completely down on his luck and completely like deplorable in his thinking. Here's some attributes that they give to the doomer in like various memes. They say he's kind of given up on girls, he's a deep thinker, he makes obsessive self-improvement attempts to avoid insanity. He can't stick to anything long-term. He celebrates conservative values, but he's too undisciplined to act them out. He considers retirement in a monastery. He hates hypocrites, therefore hates himself. He once lasted 3 days on NoFap. Here's why I want to talk about the doomers. I feel like a lot of young guys are suffering from this like identity crisis and loss of spiritual strength. So many of us have gone through our early adulthood or our adolescent years not really knowing who we are and who we could be. And it's something that I've wrestled with a lot in the last 7 years or so. Just as early as 2 years ago, I would drink with my friends, not because I wanted to, but just because I wanted to, like I felt like I had to fit in, to be a part of something. And like sitting in that bar, going about, business of like drinking the latest beer. Oh, this is an IPA, this is that craft beer. Like that was living. And taking on so many activities, taking on so many expenditures of my life, of my time, of who I was as a person, that had nothing to do with my values. And so much of that came from a lack of energy, a lack of desire, and a lack of clarity. And when you don't have those things, like you're just at the mercy of the world at large. And I often talk about the law of attraction. I talk about empowering concepts like the universe being on your side, like if you can visualize it deeply, then you can start to embody certain traits and you can start to bring it into yourself. All of that is true, but there is chaos in the universe as well. There's the laws of thermodynamics. The first law is that energy can't be created or destroyed, and so we can never like come out ahead in terms of energy. And the second law, the law that says that everything will move towards chaos if left like unattended. And so we often wrestle with like just like the chaos of the universe, and we lose ourselves in it. And that leads to some of these mentalities, such as becoming a doomer. As a doomer, I remember I would just like buy beer just because it would be like an easy stimulant, and I would drink it alone in my room. And there's like all these videos that's like the iconic activity of the doomers to just drink in your room, or to just spend hours just going through content on YouTube, various blogs. And the deep irony of that is that a lot of the stuff that I would watch would be like self-improvement stuff, So I would like read blogs about self-improvement while like embodying none of it. There was like an emotional intelligence that was completely missing with regards to that. And I remember in particular there was a blog essay that really resonated with me from a site called Kratos Guide. That site has since been taken down, but I was able to pull out some of that article, and I want to read just a little bit of it to you. You wake up. The hour does not matter to you anymore because you have nowhere to be and nothing to do. This is the curse of man. You think to yourself as you do every morning. Waking up. Consciousness. Death would be preferable if only you had the courage to seek it out. You stumble towards the kitchen and make a dull mockery of what was once known as breakfast. The less effort you put into it, the better. You make your coffee, without which you couldn't bear to attempt the long walk between your kitchen and your computer room, and then you enter your prison. 8 hours later, you realize you've wasted the best part of another day. You've done nothing, attempted nothing, learned nothing. Deep inside of you is a man, a real man, a screaming person in chains. He hates you and you're afraid of him. You once wanted to be this man, but along the way, you decided his path was too difficult. You chose a different road of safety and comfort and hatred towards those who do what you can't. You followed this road as far as anyone can follow it and remain sane. And too late did you realize that it was a downhill road, covered with a slippery layer of frost, and the further you go, the steeper it gets. With every day you don't stop, you make it harder for yourself to crawl back up the mountain. And it's a long, hard crawl. What ultimately pulled me out of that doomer life, that doomer mentality, was about a year ago. I had come home, and it had snowed the night before, and I came downstairs at around 9 a.m. and my mom said, you know, your dad was shoveling the driveway early this morning, and he had to shovel for so long, and there was something going on that after doing it for about an hour, he came inside and he was crying, and I've never seen, neither my mom nor I have ever seen my dad cry before. I still haven't seen my dad cry, and she just said, yeah, I guess it was just so cold, and his back started to hurt so much that he was just like sitting inside, like blowing on his fingers and weeping a little bit. And I just like went back to my room and thought to myself, like, I'm this 25-year-old guy, and my dad is 55, and he's the one shoveling at 6 in the morning. What the hell? Let me tell you something, man. It was not hard for me to get up at 6 a.m. the next morning. And I just had to sit down with a blank sheet of paper and ask myself, like, who I wanted to be. And I just would read that paper to myself over and over again. And I still have those notes logged down. Like, I just wrote down this question, who is Nikhil Raja? And then I wrote 2 quotes at the top of it that I've stuck with and I read from every day now. I wrote, your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development because success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And then I just wrote down what those disciplines were. I wake up at 6 a.m., take a cold shower, work out, and meditate each morning. I drink a protein shake, a green smoothie, and take important supplements every day. I plan each day the night before. Every evening, I plan for the next day and visualize it. I do several hours of focused, deep work every day. I chase new opportunities every day. I get more done in a day than most people do in a week. I work for long, uninterrupted stretches of time. I take cold showers, meditate 40 minutes, and do a pranayama routine every single day. I read from that list of who is Nikhil Raja, this like character that I'd constructed for myself, every day now, because I need to keep that doomer that's within me iced and frozen and like locked up. I can't let that surface again because there's too much at stake. Not just in terms of me being of service to my parents, which is something that I most certainly want to do, but honestly just like to myself. It is a terrifying prospect to go through your life without actually knowing what you could have done. But for my own part, of the factors that are within my locus of control, that little circle that I have an influence over, I just do not want to neglect even an inch of that. Which is why when anytime anyone asks me, like mostly I just say no to hanging out with people and to like taking on activities and like, oh, this would be do you want to go to South Carolina? No, I don't. Like I don't care about anything anymore except for like the things I'm trying to do and the qualities I'm trying to embody and just a handful of like key result areas that are of importance to me, because I just fucking cannot go back to being that doomer lifestyle. For anyone who's just been in that strange rut where you're like okay with your incompetence, just that this is what's worked for me. That you write down on a piece of paper, like who is Nikhil? Who if I could be anything I could be, what would I be? Because as Jim Rohn says, success isn't something that you go out and get. First you gotta be the guy. First you gotta be the girl. And then like it all starts to happen when you're already embodying those characteristics. And I literally just wrote down, okay, maybe I suck right now, but here is who I am. And I would just read from that list, like incessantly, 3 times a day. I still read from that list every day. And I have gotten to the point where I am full of desire, I am full of energy, and I'm full of clarity. And when you have those things, it's so hard to stay a doomer. You wake up, it's 6 a.m. and the hour matters. You wouldn't sleep past 6 for anyone or anything. You're out of the house by 7, fresh and clean, and energized by a freezing shower. You're on the road, and you know where you're going. maybe to the field to race against yourself. Maybe you're on the bike, or on the rock, or on the mountain, or in the river. Maybe you're in the air. You know this is what you're meant to do. This is living. This is courage. This is confidence. This is what you're meant to do. My fellow kings, my fellow queens, cast aside the doomer. Become who you're born to be. I'll see you next time.
Together